cry at all, and it was the modern world, the parents would be taking him to the paediatrician or even to the hospital if he didn't cry at all. The fact is, what that hymn is trying to say is that from the beginning, Jesus shared our experiences. And if a baby needs help, he can't articulate it in ordinary language, he cries. Which brings us to another point. How did Jesus learn to speak? Do you think that he came on earth and as a baby was able to make eloquent speeches in any language? Or did he learn to speak from Mary and Joseph? I'd go along with that latter explanation. If he was a real human being, he would learn to speak from those who were nearest to him. At first he'd be crying, and then he'd be speaking. There was a painting which was painted in the middle of the 19th century in England called Christ in the House of His Parents. And it showed the carpenter's shop with Joseph there at work. And there was the boy, Jesus. I don't know whether he'd be 7 or 8 years old, but he was crying because he'd been trying to do some of Joseph's work, and he'd hit a nail into his hand. And he was sobbing, and his mother was trying to comfort him. There was a great deal of outrage in Victorian England about this painting. To suggest that Jesus should even miss hit with the hammer seemed to be blasphemy, and to think that he would cry. Well, of course, we don't know anything from the Bible about what Jesus was doing at that age, but I must admit I think that picture makes sense. Jesus in the house of his parents, and like other boys, if he hurt himself, he would cry. We don't seem to have any problem about the fact that it says in the Bible that when Jesus went to Bethany and Lazarus had died, and he was meeting with his sisters Mary and Martha, it says Jesus wept. And we're also told that Jesus wept over Jerusalem when he thought of the way it was going to be destroyed. So Jesus was able to give expression to his sorrow in very human ways. And when he emptied himself, these are ways in which he emptied himself. He became like us and shared our feelings and shared our needs. Some people talk as though Jesus would know everything. Well, I doubt whether, when Jesus was on earth, he had thought through Einstein's theory of relativity 2 years before it came into Einstein's head. Maybe you could say he'd other things and perhaps more important things to do. But the Bible doesn't tell us that Jesus knew everything. If he came onto Jeopardy, would he get all the answers right, and would he press the button before anybody else did? I don't know. Maybe he would. Maybe he wouldn't. It tells us that Jesus, in the Bible, it even tells us that Jesus had to learn things. In the Epistle to the Hebrews, it says, he learned obedience through the things that he suffered. He learned obedience through the things that he suffered. Look at the story of Gethsemane. Jesus didn't really want to suffer and go to the cross. He asked God if he could be delivered from that fate. And then he said, not what I will, but what you will. He was learning obedience through the things that he suffered. there is another way in which I think Jesus had limitations. There are some people in this country today who can tell you almost to the day when Jesus is going to come again onto this earth. They've got it all sewn up. The people have been telling us the dates for years. Up till now, they've all got it wrong. But I remember when I was talking about this once at Emory, a student once shouted out, "But will somebody one day get a home run?" Well, I don't know whether they will get a home run about that, but Jesus didn't. It tells us in the Gospel that Jesus said, "Of that hour no one knows, neither the angels in heaven nor the Son. Only the Father knows." Even Jesus said,